Help, help, call 911. So you have someone call 911. It's an emergency situation. There has been a significant injury, violence has occurred, and you want help. So your first responders show up to help you and whoever else has been hurt, and they themselves get attacked. So then what do? This is a serious situation that is going on in several areas around the world, not just in the United States, but globally. There's an issue with this, and it's getting worse all the time. My concern is the more first responders that are attacked, the less there is that's out there to respond to someone who really needs them. And by first responders, I mean firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, anyone that responds for an emergency that is offering help. Now, the first thing we're going to discuss is what has happened in the past to kind of give you an insight into what's going on around the world. According to Matt Watson, in an article titled Violent Attacks on Healthcare Workers, a Growing Problem, the Geneva Convention of 1864 declared for the first time that hospitals, ambulances, medical staffs, military units, whomever it might be that is in the medical field, that they are protected and that they are neutral, which means they're not on one side or another. They're supposed to be protected from direct aggression during armed conflicts. These articles have since been updated to include the sick, wounded, medical personnel, and medical facilities, along with their vehicles. This means that medical personnel, their patients, and place of work is supposed to be safe. At least that is the intent of the international humanitarian law. I say intent because that is not always the truth. However, recent reports of violence targeting healthcare workers provide evidence that this protection has degraded and requires strengthening and enforcement. The International Committee of Red Cross, which I will shorten to be ICRC, started documenting violent attacks on healthcare workers and patients in 16 nations throughout the world. Before the ICRC started this documentation, it was difficult to assess the real threat against medical staff or their patients. On May 15, 2013, the ICRC, that's a mouthful, released violent incidents affecting healthcare workers during emergency in 22 countries. The following types of incidents against healthcare workers included 150 killings, 114 wounded, 92 beatings, 73 kidnappings, 266 threats, 92 arrests, and 85 robberies. That's a lot. And the consequences of the growing violence against healthcare workers does not just harm the healthcare worker and their families, it also harms the patient. There is a what the ICRC refers to as the knock-on effects, which means that the patient is the one that suffers also, because if the healthcare workers cannot get to them, then they can't do their job and they can't help the ones that are ill. And decisive action is needed. to protect healthcare workers and facilities. The Medical Neutrality Protection Act of 2013 states that the U.S. considers medical neutrality an integral part of defense, of human rights law, and international humanitarian law. The U.S. government has vowed to work to support and defend that principle. First responders have been responding to incidents that were the result of or caused by violence. Some examples may be as easy or as simple as a fight at a local bar, all the way up to 9/11 or the Oklahoma City bombings and Columbine. These are significant incidences to have to respond to. Most of the time, first responders, they show up, they do their job, they go home at night. That's the wish for all of us. And I say us because, yes, I am a first responder, as I am a paramedic, but I also wish that for everyone in my field, including law enforcement, because they're first responders also. Unfortunately, it is getting to where it is more and more that first responders do not do their job and go home. They start to do their job and they are injured or killed. In March 2006, former Peoria, Arizona fire inspector Howard M. Mundane cited statistics that an estimated 70,000 assaults occur on first responders annually. So what do we do about these violent attacks? National protocols for response to violent incidents should continue to be developed and championed. In some areas, such as Illinois, it's a felony to assault a first responder. However, according to ABC News 7 reports, those who assault first responders get trivial punishment, if at all. It appears that due to lack of punishment or no real punishment, unfortunately, these attacks will continue.